On this day, 40 years ago, well, 1980 was a special year for me, but it was also a year of change because I think it was my first year that I felt that I could win a global title. But the key point was at what weight category. And I think that I realised that I wasn't going to remain in the under 71 kilos category. I was literally moving through the weights as I'd done all through my career, really. And I'd medalled at the 1979 World Championships, and I'd become European champion for my first senior European title was at 71 kilograms in 1979. But I was finding it more and more difficult to make the weight. And I was probably resting at about 75, 76 kilos. And it was hard on my body making the weight, but not just my body, of course. It was hard on my mind as well. And this is when we decided, the team managers and myself, to fight some competitions in the higher weight category. And, first time I'd fought in the higher weight was in 1978, of course, in the British Open against Jean-Pierre Gilbert, who gave me my biggest lesson and strangled me in the final. But it was a lesson that I never forgot. And I was a lot more cautious in 1980, fighting at 78 kilograms now. Of course, I realized that you can't just walk in and expect to win. You have to learn the differences in the categories, for one thing. Different weight distribution, different levers, different power base. In fact, in 1980, I fought every contest except for the Olympic Games at under 78 kilograms. And I was getting better at the weight and more comfortable with my weight and fighting the heavier guys. And of course, it was easier not crashing my weight, and it was suiting me. So every tournament in 1980 was gold at 78 kilograms, including winning against Harold Hinke of East Germany, who was a two-time European champion at the weight. And I beat him in the final of the Swedish Open. And I remember thinking that this man was the strongest man on earth. And he was probably coming down from 82, 83, 84 kilos, if not more, to get down to under 78 kilograms. And my weight was resting at about 75 kilograms. So I was giving so much weight away against a strong East German fighter. And, my weight to fight at the European Championships, my decision, to what weight to fight at the European Championships was a difficult decision. But in the end, of course, we decided to go for under 78 kilograms, just so that I didn't have to lose the weight again. And I remember that it was always in our minds to go to the Olympic Games at 71 kilograms. And so I only wanted to lose the weight one time that year, because that was going to be my last time at 71s. And you might ask why. But it was different then. The system was different then. And I had a choice of the two categories. I could fight either category at the Olympic Games, representing Great Britain. I didn't have to qualify through a qualification system. And I was seeded from the previous World Championships. That's how we did it then. And I was seeded at under 71 kilos. And what it meant was that I went in as one of the top seeds, and it meant that I wouldn't meet, it meant that if I went in at 78 kilograms, that I would, or had a chance of, meeting with one of the top seeds from the higher weight in the first round. And I didn't want that. Good decision or not, that was what we decided. And the 1980 Europeans was was really, really tough. And well, it was in pools to begin with. That's the way they did it then. So I had 3 in a pool, and I had 2 really hard matches in my pool, and came out, and I was bruised and battered. But I came out into the last 16. But things were getting better. I was getting better through the day, and I was adapting to the heavier weights, and I was getting better and better each fight, and came through to fight Henke again in the final. And if he won, he was going to be a 3-time European champion. And if I won, then I would win back-to-back European titles, but at different weights. And that was something that hadn't been done at that particular time. And I've got to say that I played probably the best tactical match of my life against Henke. And I never gave him a second to settle. And I remember that was the tactics here. I wasn't going to let him get 2 hands on me. And I was on him in Newaza. And although he was so physically strong, and I couldn't straighten his arm out, and he kept rolling, and then I kept going again, but I was dominated for 2.5 minutes on his back. And I was also out attacking him as well. And when the buzzer went, he knew, and I knew, that I'd done it. I was European champion in my second weight category on consecutive years. And I've got to say that to this day, it was one of my greatest wins. And the picture and, of course, the smile says it all. It was a hard day, but it was well worth it. The only contest that I'd lost in 1980 was the final of the Olympic Games at under 71 kilograms by a split decision. And I really struggled in the final because of my weight loss and simply having no energy, no power at all. I'd gone through my earlier rounds, on every match, came into the final. I didn't have anything. And losing the weight incorrectly was one of the reasons that I lost. But on reflection, I do think that I fought in the wrong weight. As they say, you win some and you lose some. Or in my case, I lost one. I lost one contest that year, but that's life. I learnt from it. And of course, the next year I went up permanently into under 78 kilograms and became world champion. We make decisions sometimes in our lives, but we have to learn from our mistakes, and then we have to try and put them right. Certainly 1980 was a key year in my life.